Hi everyone! Welcome to GuildGab. This is episode 5 that we're on. I'm AuroraPeachy.
And I'm Akasaurus Rex on the final countdown.
The final
Sort of.
countdown, the final patch. We made it.
Final
We made it.
countdown. I know, yeah, we're here.
We made it to the finale. Now,
Yeah,
apparently
this
there's
is,
still an epilogue. So
yeah,
this is the
yeah.
end, but there's still a little. We're gonna get some little bonus, kind of a finale,
Yes,
in
which
two
is
weeks.
awesome.
Yeah.
So for anyone who has seen all the goodies of this new patch that Aurora and I are gonna be blabbing our pantses off about, yeah, there's one more like lower patchy epilogue thing that's coming up. So hopefully they'll be using that to set up season 2 and also um, final some things out. But we got a lot of good juicy bits just with what we have now. But we get to look forward to a little
Oh yeah.
later.
Oh, so many juicy things to talk about. First thing I want to say real quick is that this is going to be full of spoilers. We are talking
Yes,
about
yeah.
everything that you see, all the final cutscenes, the final, everything that happens. So if you don't want to know, if you haven't done it yet, and you want to do it for yourself, and you haven't gone through that yet, then
Go
stop
away.
right now and come back after you've completed it, because we're going to talk about everything. So this is your spoiler alert.
Yes, run, hide if you haven't seen any of this stuff. Go. If you're still doing
I
the fight, or
actually I saw all this a day after it came out, because the first night I think I tried the event maybe 3 times. The first time I did not. The overflow that I was in didn't even defeat the knights, the assault
right.
knights. So then you have to wait. If you don't defeat those assault knights, you have to wait. Oh my gosh, probably 45 minutes, and then you can try it
Yeah.
again. And the second time we did defeat the assault knights, and we got into the hologram, and we just failed to defeat the holograms. The third time we got into the holograms, we were doing really well. I happened to get into an overflow that defeated the assault knights very quickly, and we got into the hologram. We were doing really well. I was like, oh my gosh, we might actually do it. I was so excited, and then the event bugged.
Yeah, I was seeing lots of people complain about bugging
Yeah,
on the first initial thing because
yeah,
I got that I got that wonderful adrenaline surge getting into this thing because I like read like first like the patch note things on the website, and they never actually tell you that much, but they do still give you the overview. And so they didn't actually specifically talk about your final battle with Scarlet.
right.
So I wasn't even too sure if we actually were or not, or it's like, is she
Yeah,
coming down city? Are we going up there? I wanted to know what the heck was going on because I had no real guidelines, so I was really kind of lost. And eventually I started whispering and talking to people. Luckily, I told them not to give me the spoilers, but then
avoiding spoilers.
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
But I just yeah, I'm not really big in on the big Zerg battle stuff. So although we can talk about this like a little later, but I think it was kind of really interesting what they were doing. But yeah, there was a lot of people complaining about the bugging aspects to it, and I was really kind
Yeah,
of lost. But there was still that wonderful excitement thinking that I was thinking like, wow, we're gonna be the fight Scarlet now?
yeah.
Really? Whoa, shit. Yeah, I'm like, wow, man. Yeah, I was pardon my language if it's offensive. But yeah,
Skipping ahead a tiny bit on that subject, when you bring down, I'm assuming everyone has done this, so I'm not going to explain exactly what happens because that's just redundant. I think everybody knows you get into the ship and fight the holograms. Um, when the holograms are defeated, I haven't done it yet, but I watched a video on it because I wanted to know what happened. Um, Scarlet's she's controlling the holograms. You're fighting the giant hologram. There's a couple points during the first part of the fight where she actually comes down and is fighting you. You can't
right.
as far as I know, you can't like defeat her while she's down there. You have to keep attacking the hologram and just kind of ignore the fact that Scarlet is right there. You want to
Right.
attack her. My first time up there, I was like, attack Scarlet, there she is. But I guess you're supposed to keep attacking the hologram. Um, when you bring the holograms down at the end, Scarlet's mortally wounded. What do you think about, like, it almost seems like something was skipped. Like, Scarlet's, as far as we
Right.
know, never been directly connected to a hologram where if we destroy her hologram, that means that we mortally wound her? Like, what's the connection
Yeah.
there?
That seemed a little kind of sloppy there, unfortunately. I never actually fought the hologram battle and the other things because I just found it too much of kind of a chore for myself to find a group that would actually fight the bloody metal
Mm.
guys and girls, and then you jump to the ship, and then you all have to coordinate to defeat the holograms. Like
It's a challenge.
I just wanted to get to the cool solo instance that I was hearing about and knew about. And luckily, for anyone who doesn't know this, you can skip the battle stuff and go straight to it. If you have the back piece from the last patch, Escape from Lion's Arch, if you have that at any level, then you can climb up the side of the mountain and you can find a little portal that'll get you straight to the kind of final instance.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what you're talking about with how we find her there like mortally wounded, but there isn't any real sense of how she got to that. I was kind of assuming
Mm-hmm.
that it's like because she was controlling the like the holograms, that when you destroy the holograms, there's maybe some kind of explosion near her that does it, I guess.
Yeah.
That seems that
In
was
the
kind of
video
weak.
I watched of it, there's that giant. The hologram goes in stages, and the final stage is this ultraviolet, giant ultraviolet prime hologram. And when you defeat that, it's like all of a sudden Scarlet is in that middle platform, and she falls down. Except she's like supersized. I think it's odd. It's very odd. And then I didn't really see. I mean, there might have been like an explosion that was maybe that, like you said, was meant to be what damaged her. Was the actual hologram blowing up or something?
Mm,
Which
yeah.
I don't know. That purple special purple portal you were talking about. That's how I got to the final instance as well. Which is wonderful that you can solo that. I was very
Yes.
scared that I would have been forced to find four other people, and go in there and defeat something really difficult in order just to see the story. And the fact that they gated that properly, you are able to go right to that, is great for people like us who are truly invested in the story. The last thing I wanted was to get in there and be trying to listen to the story, and then if I'm on Mumble with someone and they start talking or something, I was so
Yeah.
scared that I wouldn't be able to sit and enjoy and appreciate, what was going on, the story that they're telling, without someone saying, okay, let's rush on to the next thing. When I'm like, I mean, when
Yeah.
I was done when all the cutscenes were done, and the heroes are limping out and they're slowly making their way to the exit, I just stood there. I was like, I just want to stay here and just soak in everything that just happened. I was so glad that I wasn't with a party that was like, come on, let's go, hurry up. So that was great. I kind of went off on a tangent there.
Oh, no worries. Yeah.
But
Tangent
when
zero.
you go into
That's just
that, when you go to that purple portal, and all you have to do is have the spinal blade back piece with you. You don't even have to be wearing it. It just has to be with you.
right.
I found that out. It actually does warn you. It says if you can skip right to the end cutscene, or to the end
Yeah.
battle, the final battle with Scarlet. You can skip right to that, but you will be skipping a key story moment, or something like that.
Yeah.
It warns you. Now I had already done the hologram battle. It failed it, but I had done it a couple times, so I kind of knew, what was going on there. But I got all paranoid. I was like, I'm missing something. You know, there's something that, I
Yeah.
it says you're missing a key story moment. I'm like, what? And what they were talking about was Scarlet being injured. Because you go in there, you find Scarlet injured. Well, if you didn't do the hologram battle, you would be like, why is she injured? Like you said.
Yeah.
So that's why I just went and I watched a video. I tried, then I went back and I did the holograms again, attempted them again. I was like, well, I need to see this key story moment, I don't want to see things out of order. But that's all it was. And then they show her limping towards the portal that takes you deeper into the ship where the final
Yep.
instance is. That's all it is. But yeah, those words made me go back and try it one more time. And then when I failed, I was like, screw this. I can't go another day trying to avoid spoilers. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I kind of wish I didn't, but I kind of I like checked out like the battle and the final thing on YouTube first because this fellow posted it right away.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I did that because something frustration talking to people who didn't seem to know, I guess, how to communicate because I was trying to ask these questions and they just weren't telling me what I needed to
Mm.
know as far as how to get to these things and go through these things, and people were being kind of real dicks. And when I was trying to figure out where this hidden thing was, I just couldn't find it, and I got so frustrated. I wasn't sure. Like this, like one guy was like, oh, "Okay, I'll show you," and he like joined me into a party, and so I was trying to find him to find over him.
Uh-huh.
And when I finally got near the area, because it was taking me a while, and I've got vision problems, and I was finding me hard to find it. The the bugger like left the party as soon as I got there. He just
Huh.
said it's here where I am. But then when I got to the area, he was gone, and he had left the party. I looked up, I was like, oh, he ditched me. What?
Huh.
And he wouldn't whisper back, and I was like, what?
Hmm.
Just
Well,
tell me where it was, not
was this on the
follow me.
very
I'm
first
here.
night? Was this on
Yeah,
Tuesday?
oh yeah, yeah. This was like on like the first one or whatever. But and so I had basically seen it on the YouTube stuff. Although the annoying thing was that it was definitely like much better when I actually went back in the game and found the instance and was able to see it and indulge it. But when I was watching it on the YouTube thing and I finally got to the actual story bits, because I was kind of wondering like, oh, are we gonna get some of the story bits? And when we did, it was really annoying because the guy who was recording it was talking over it,
Oh.
and I like got this like I,
Oh.
it's kind of funny because like I was like really kind of glued to it. I was like okay like trying to listen to every little thing they're saying.
Yeah.
'Cause I was like, oh, what, oh, we're doing that, oh, there's this kind of speech that like a lot of guys tend to talk. um I don't know how to explain it exactly. It's sort of almost like a sort of like fake voice in a way that they don't want to sound, I don't know, uncool or something, but they inevitably sound really annoying and
Oh.
loud and stupid and or obviously aren't that into the lore or story, so they're going like, what? What's this? Huh? Oh, whoa,
Or
okay.
that, yeah, they don't understand what's going on because they haven't followed the story and they're just trying to get their achievements. Yeah. Something like
And like
that,
they
possibly.
yeah, and if they like this fellow have his voice thing on the whole time, it's like he doesn't know. Okay, when they're talking, shut up,
Yeah.
please,
That's the reason I
quiet,
wanted to do it by
child.
myself. Um, saw there was someone in map chat who's, I don't know how this works because I mean, if you're watching a video and someone skips it, it skips it for them. It doesn't skip it for you unless there was a bug or something. But there was someone who said, I was in a party and someone skipped the movie and then I couldn't see it or something.
Oh,
And
that sucks.
yeah, I don't think that's how it's supposed to work, but I don't know. But
Yeah,
people saying that being in parties made them miss story bits, or maybe they meant that the
yeah,
NPC was talking and had the word bubble above their head, and maybe they couldn't see it or couldn't hear what they were saying, because there's so much voice acting. And maybe that's what they meant, is they couldn't hear what they were saying because someone was talking or something. But yeah, so um, that just goes back to the main endings part being soloable was wonderful. Um,
I just wanted
when
to say.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, no, no. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. I just want to touch just a little bit more, just about like the structure of this,
Mm-hmm.
of how they're talking about, was just that because like with like many other traditional MMOs, is that they often have their key story bits, especially like for like the final raid of, let's say, an expansion or something. They'll have the key story bits and whatnot in the raid.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to get a big group of people to go through the raid. But most people who are raiding don't care about it, or you get a lot of
Right.
jerks, or you get a lot of people that just don't care, or people like, as you're saying, will skip the scenes and stories and force you to
Right.
not be able to actually um,
Enjoy it.
eat up yeah, exactly, to enjoy the stories, to
Mm-hmm.
listen to it, because a lot of people in MMOs don't. They just are like little 13-year-olds and run and go, that kind of thing.
Right. Right.
And I find what ArenaNet has done so far, because they've now done this twice with like the ending of the Tower of Nightmare and now the ending of our final thing here, is that they wonderfully have like the sort of like they've kind of split it, sort of. It's like the final key story bits of whatever story they're telling, you can do that solo. Um, so that if you're like ourselves and you want the story, you can do that. You can do it solo, or you can maybe bring some others with you if you want. And then there's like a main action part, like how the Tower Nightmare had the main scaling up the tower itself,
Mm-hmm.
which was intense, but it really wasn't my cup of tea. I'm just not into that. Whereas like the final Tower Nightmare thing instance was brilliant. I love that thing. And same here, the final bit with Scarlet. I love that little bit, and I love that
Me
they've been able
too.
to separate. You know, it's like they got the main action battle stuff here for you for those that want that kind of challenge and action, and then they have the nice little nugget that contains all the story bits,
Yeah.
which we have here. And I really think Arena has hit a really great balance with that. And
Yeah. They're getting better and better.
I suspect they're going to keep on doing it this way. They're going to have like big battle things, but then they'll also, I hope, always have the little, if you want to skip it and go straight to this little solo part of it that finishes
Mm-hmm.
it up, you can,
Mm-hmm.
which I think is brilliant.
That's
And that's
uh,
just one
that's their
say on that.
motto. One of their things is play your way, play how you want to play. If you like the
Yeah,
big Zergy content, you can do that. If you like the party content, you can do that. If you like the solo content, you can do that. And no matter how you like to play, you can see the story and yeah, bravo, bravo, very good.
touche. Yes, yes, that was good.
Something to kind of transition into the story bits. I'm actually really surprised that we're almost 20 minutes into this and we haven't just gone all into the story that we get in the final cutscene, but we're trying to pace ourselves so we don't just blurb
But
everything we think. It's coming though. Um,
it's how you eat an elephant, darling, one piece at a time, as they say.
yes, one thing at a time. But to transition in that, after the hologram battle, while Scarlet is like limping towards the portal or the door or whatever it is,
Yep.
she says something very interesting. She
Oh,
says, "The drilling must not stop." Like she's mortally wounded. She's desperately trying to get away from this giant Zerg. She is more concerned that the drilling succeeds
right.
than her own life. And I went, wow, when I heard her say that. Like, possibly her dying words, because there's people all around her trying to kill her. She's saying the drilling must not stop. This mission must succeed. I was like, wow. This is more
Yeah.
important to her than her own life.
And the
So,
drill does succeed.
and it does. So, long story short, waking up Mordramoth means more to her than her own life.
Yep. I know. There was, of course, that there was that it was brought up, and yeah, there was this one moment when it's like you and your buddies confront Scarlet, and she's like all like like going you, yeah, you dang kids, and it's like she like says, so don't you want to know why I've been doing
Oh
all
my
of this? Don't you want
god!
that the community has been ranting and raving for
I
over a
said,
stinking
yes,
year
yes,
for?
I want to know why. Tell me
And
why. Even after it was all over, I go,
from
but why?
you stupid Norn, I wanted to finish him. He like steps in. That doesn't matter anymore. You're going
It
down.
doesn't
I'm
matter.
Captain Rom.
Are you
Uh,
serious? Oh my
no,
gosh.
I
Now,
couldn't believe.
oh, no, I mean,
I
yes, it's cheesy and yes, it's cliche, but we wanted the villain monologue. We wanted the villain in their final moments to tell us everything they've been doing, why they've been doing it, and their evil plan, their evil scheme. We wanted that. We wanted her to
no.
tell us.
That was like the one thing. I can't believe Arena was that blind and dumb to not like. What do you? I am hoping that this epilogue will finally do it and not just be like, okay, see ya, Rocks, see ya, Marjorie, dum de
Oh
dum. It's like,
no.
please, I'm hoping that's what the epilogue will be for to fully further this out. I can't believe they did that.
I
To
think
have
no, I
Brock
think all
step
season
in.
2 is going to be investigating this. I mean, it was clear on the screen what happened. I mean, outside we knew there was a ley line, we knew she was drilling into it, but
Yeah.
see now I don't know if it. I had this question last night when I beat it. That cutscene. We as players saw that cutscene. We saw what happened. We saw it
Yep.
go down into the forest and wake Morjamoth, who I also at first thought it was Bubbles. I was convinced it was Bubbles. um, but now I've watched it again, and now I'm convinced it's
Yeah,
Morjamoth.
it's totally a jungle scene that it goes through.
Yeah, yeah. It totally looked like underwater. It totally those.
Yeah,
It
and
looked
it
like
like sounded.
bubbles. It
Yeah,
sounded
it
even sound. I agree. It sounded like
sounded
a
like
water. That
underwater.
sounded like a
Mhm.
water effect. It sounded like there was like this bubble effect. The little floaty things looked like bubbles. The whole scene was like this aquamarine, which was halfway
Could have
between
been
green
under
and
the sea.
blue. It
Yeah.
yeah, I can
And,
see how it's the forest,
uh,
but it very easily can be mistaken for underwater. But yeah, so I made a huge rant about it last night. About what does this mean, and all my initial reaction to it, and I go on and on and on about the what does this mean that she's waking the deep sea dragon? What connection does she have with the deep sea dragon? And now I feel stupid. I'm like, it wasn't.
aw,
Shoot. Now all my
aw.
speculation and stuff is completely wrong and completely unwarranted. And it's like, it's
But it,
interesting because
but it.
go ahead.
No, no, no. I was just saying in support that it totally does look like the sea
It
when
really
like, and it
looked,
sounds like the
it
sea,
looked and
which is
sounded like the deep sea dragon. Um,
because like even like that like little butterfly thing that could also be some kind of underwater
it
thing. It
totally looked like a
still
little,
looked like
the
some
Largos have
plankton
wings.
thing.
They're an underwater race and they have basically wings like a butterfly. I thought it could
Yes.
easily have been an underwater creature. Oh,
Yeah.
I kind of I almost want to go back. It's like if that was easily identifiable as Morjamoth and there was no question that that's who it was. I think I'm interested how personally how my reaction would have been different because I was convinced right there and then it was the deep sea dragon. And so all these questions start going through my mind, what? Why? If I knew right away that it was Morjamoth, it would have been like, this is the coolest thing I have ever seen. Oh my god, we were right. The sixth dragon,
Nice.
hell yeah, we were right. Oh my gosh, points for us, and I say us as the community, and we as the community.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would have been this completely different kind of reaction. Whereas I was, thinking it was Bubbles, it was like, what? Okay, this is awesome,
Yeah.
but okay.
Plus, Bubbles is already awake, I believe, too. So he's out swimming under the sea and having parties under the sea.
Yeah.
Sebastian the crab. Do 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 destroy. Yeah. Yeah. And so yeah. I mean, yeah. I'm so bloody happy.
Oh,
It's absolutely confirmed Mordremoth because there's going to be so much cool stuff they can do with season 2 now.
I'm
I
still,
can't wait for
honestly,
this, man. I
yeah,
am so
I'm
pumped for
still
this
wrapping my head
jungle.
around the fact that this is Mordremoth. Like, and it makes me think back to, what if we had never discovered Mordremoths? Think about this. If we never found, Mordremoth's name in game, which, by the way, Mordremoth is an awesome name. It just
Yes, it
sounds
is a very
cool.
awesome name. It does. Mordremoth. Yeah.
What
Yeah, it's
if,
cool.
think about, what if there was, if we never had gotten any concept that there was a sixth dragon, and the only other one we knew of was the deep sea dragon. We knew all the other ones. We knew it was frost and fire and crystal and death. What if it suddenly showed this thing going into the forest and going down under the forest and showing this dragon? Would we have been like, what dragon is that? What? Is there
Yeah,
another one? It being
yeah,
Mordremoth and us knowing about Mordremoth, it's kind of like, yes, like it's confirmed everything that all of the lore theorists have theorized about over the last year. It's just confirmed that, which is awesome.
and
But what if
it
we
means
never
that
knew?
season 2 is going to be a lot of fun because there's so many cool things that they can do with
Mm.
this, and
Oh my
just I can't
gosh,
wait.
I oh
I can't wait to see the aesthetics for this new thing. But
yeah.
uh, one of the biggest parts of this ending cinematic, besides it just being really cool, like seeing like
Oh, it
Scarlet's
was.
corpse,
Oh, that was
just
so
quite
creepy.
wonderfully graphic. I was kind of like,
Oh, it
okay, she is
was.
dead.
It was.
It's like,
She had this in the cinematic. She had this look on her face of like, yes, it was like her eyes were wide open. Her mouth was open and she was smiling.
yeah,
It was like
yeah,
saying, I've succeeded. But at the same
yeah,
time, what I really got from her expression was, I'm free. Because as we know, this
that too, yeah,
this Amordramoth was tormenting her. That was part of what made her insane. Was it was just
yeah,
constantly hounding her and tormenting her, and she desperately wanted it out of her head. She would scream, "Get out of my head!"
yep,
So in death, she got freedom from that, and that's like her
yeah,
expression to
'cause-
me said, "I'm free." It was
yeah, like
intense.
I was really because like I've like sometimes heard people compare like the personal story to this living story thing, and there's definitely huge improvements on this because with the personal story, like Zaitan comes literally out of nowhere. You don't get a sense of the threat of this thing. It's just like, oh, there's just some undead dragon thing apparently, and it makes undead people, and like there's no real
Well,
development of this, and
well, I think what you mean is that the threat of Zaitan is already present when the game starts. There's not this, we didn't get to experience in game this build up where this
well,
dragon is
yeah,
rising. I mean,
yeah,
the threat is throughout the entire living story. People are saying Or has been taken over. They're coming to attack Lion's Arch. Um, but the threat wasn't built up. You just heard people talking about the current threat. So I
yeah,
can see,
because
yeah.
yeah, because like the nice thing about having gone through this living story thing as like the next story after Zaitan thing is that I mean like we don't know exactly what's coming, and then there's with Scarlet we don't know what her machinations are, but then when we finally start finding more about her, we learn that from the beginning she's been plagued by this
Hmm.
demonic-ish presence that's very insidious, that's far creepier than anything that Zaitan represented. Because when you're just doing the personal story, it's like when you finish off your racial story, um, you're kind of just suddenly thrust into finding out about Zaitan. Like he's not really brought up that much. It's just like, oh, there's this kind of big scary dragon thing there, whereas
Hmm.
it doesn't feel as well developed as we're going into season 2 that this
Hmm.
threat is coming. So I really like that aspect. But
Yeah, I like that we get to
the
experience it while it's building up. Hmm.
But the other than wonderful scaly friends coming to us is that Um, the biggest thing that popped out for me was the girl on girl kiss that we had
I freaked
between
out. Oh my
Marjorie
god.
and Casimir. I was
I
like,
was
holy
expecting a dragon.
bejeebus.
I was expecting a dragon even though I didn't know if it would actually happen, so that was a huge surprise. But I did not see their whole interaction. Oh, I didn't see that coming at all. And
Yeah,
I think it was so beautifully timed because there was also the question of are they actually going to kill a character off?
yeah,
And they didn't, but they gave us that moment of
they faked it.
possibility. They
Faked
did. They
it, yeah.
faked it. And I mean, I didn't know. I was like, I was gonna be so upset. I was like, don't kill Marjorie. She's so cool. Please don't kill Marjorie. And, but you didn't know there was a little bit that you didn't know. Maybe she did die. But yeah, when they revealed, when that scene with Casimir holding her and all the little animations, even the eye animations and everything on Casimir looking around and all nervous and
Yeah, and
I
her
don't
like
know what to
fingers
do,
and
her
hands.
panic. Oh my gosh, that was so well done. And I'm so glad that they put that extra effort into animating that because that just and the music. This is
It was
I'm going into the mind dump. Watch out.
combined. Yeah,
Oh, it was so
it was
beautiful and
really
it was so well
sweet.
timed and it was so sweet and oh my gosh, yeah, I just went oh! Like I fangirl squealed. I was like, "Oh my god." Cuz it was so perfect because she truly thought Marjorie had died.
Yeah,
When she saw she was alive, she I like to think in my own fangirl mind that that was their first kiss because the way
yeah,
Marjorie reacted to it, like it was like the eyes open for half a second, like oh my gosh, and then the eyes closing, like
yeah,
giving
yeah.
into it.
That's the
It
yeah, baby. Yeah,
was so beautiful. Oh, it was so
it
beautiful.
does feel like it could be like one of the first big kisses they've done.
Oh, it was
I think they've
beautiful. It
been
was so well done.
kind of a bit taking it very slow, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, the thing that really impressed me about it, well, yeah, was just I just kept thinking, it's like, is this the first, like basically gay kiss in
I
an
wondered that
MMO
too.
video game?
I wondered that too. That's it,
Because
I
like
if
these are like
so, that's
main,
wow. Good job, ArenaNet, for just
yeah,
not being afraid to put it out there. That was beautiful. Mm.
yeah,
Mm.
because like because that was the big thing that I was thinking about at first was like I was trying to consider how many main characters that are having a very gay relationship also then have it cemented in this kind of epic kissy moment. um and then I find it also funny because that's then doubled by the relationship of Rox and Bram, which is a total bromance, even though
Oh
they are
yeah.
male and female. I mean, they're different species, but they are male and female, whereas their relationship is totally unsexual, but it's a total bromance.
It is. It
I
is.
love you, man. I love you, man. And, but it's a total like non-sexual thing. Like, let's drink and cuddle hug. Whereas like Casimir and Jury are the total like, ooh, like Gone with the Wind kind of like romance heavy thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just considering that. I was like, wow, this is really cool and um again awesome. Like ArenaNet, people can critique it for any number of things, but what they do well is gender roles and
Mm.
representation, like on how female char look for one thing. They're very spot on all these things, which so many video games are not,
Mm-hmm.
and so many in video game communities, like certain male demographies tend to be a bit kind of childish on or whatnot. Because what the video that I was watching of the final cinematic, and if you're watching, dude, I don't mean to bash you, but please, I was just really really passionate when I finally saw that, so I was really excited. That's why I got pissed off when he was talking through it because I was like,
Oh,
quiet. It's like it was like the first time that I was seeing it. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Arr!" But I think he mentioned at one point when Casimir and Jury kissed, he was like kind of saying, "Oh, there's people going to be upset, like, or there's people that are on the forums, or apparently this has been a apparently there's been some forum
Oh, of course,
heated
people have
debate."
reasons to complain about every second of it. Just because I just think people like to complain. People like to look for the bad. Why
Uh,
would you waste your time and energy looking for something to be unhappy about when you could just accept it all? And if it's not your thing, just accept it for what it is. But don't look for something to complain about. I mean, I'm just purely fangirling over the whole thing, and I could not be
yeah.
having a better time. Why would I want to look for things that I think are wrong, or I think, I
Well,
think people just like to complain, and that's a shame because I don't, I feel so bad for these developers who pour their heart and soul into developing and writing and creating this for us, and then you have people who just do nothing but complain. That's a whole nother topic, but
it's like don't
makes
check
me
the
sad.
forum.
Yeah, I
Well, you
did.
know,
I did go onto the Guild Wars 2 forums briefly last night because I wanted to see the good people's positive reactions, and then constructive criticism is another thing, and that's fine. That's great.
yeah.
But people who just say this is stupid, or oh, that kiss was just purely for fan service. Who cares? You know. So, what if it was? If you don't like it, just go back to your corner and shut up and go do your zerging
Yeah,
and,
I know. Yeah,
and your
I know. Like,
farming. If
well,
you don't like
we
it,
know
shut up. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
there was like a case where like a WoW dev actually quit essentially because he essentially had like a kind of nervous breakdown because he was one of the people that had to deal with the forum
Oh,
interactions, and
God.
the guy essentially had a nervous breakdown
I would
because
not
of
want that job.
how far people go. And yeah, I think it's basically just a sign of maturity or immaturity,
Mm-hmm.
and that it's easy to hate and be negative, and it's very easy to jump on the bandwagon to be hateful and constantly
Yeah.
whine and minge about something. Whereas you need to have some actual maturity to actually say that you do like something, and when you say that you like something, to not then be like I don't know, afraid that you're going to be seen in a
Mm.
kiss uppy light or something. Whereas if you're just whining about it, then everybody whines about things, and then it's much easier. It's the whole peer pressure thing. It's easier to whine and minge, and that's what kids do. That's what people who think like kids and who never
Yeah.
grow up do. They just keep complaining and whining and whining and like the sound of my voice right now, whining and whining and whining. And also just finally, like if anyone thinks that that's fan service, I would say absolutely no, because if you've been following these two girls, it's not fan service. It's like
It's
their relationship
part
has
of
been
their
developing.
relationship, yeah.
Yeah, like they've been having a definite, sexual tension there from at least the Tower of Nightmare phase onwards, where they've been absolutely flirting, not just like I don't know, friendly flirting. Like they definitely have an interest in each other now. You definitely get that by the Tower of Nightmare. And now, at this point, with everything that's going on in this climactic battle, and if she thinks that Marjorie died and
Yeah.
has suddenly found out no, she's not dead, it's like yes, that verifies them
Mm-hmm.
getting a good lip
Oh,
lock.
it was beautiful. I loved it.
And yeah, like I swear, I think this has to be certainly the first MMORPG moment of two lesbian lovers getting a big kiss on screen, which I was
It's
like, that is so
possible. It's
awesome.
possible.
That's awesome.
Oh, I
That
has
that,
no
that is
words.
fantastic.
Just applause for ArenaNet because, oh, the whole cutscene was so good. I'm wondering what this means for. I keep wondering about the Thaumanova reactor because that was very clearly shown in the cutscene, and
Yeah.
the power went to it. The ley line went to it. I'm wondering, I mean, I'm sure we're going to find all this out in the future because there's still so many questions. There's so many things now that have to be investigated. Good thing we have Marjorie. Um, like, this power went right to the thumb and overreactor. I wonder if the reactor kind of pointed it in the right direction
Oh yeah,
to
yeah, I
Mordremoth,
would say
you
so.
know? Like it did, this ley line didn't just automatically, oh, this is the one that goes to Mordremoth. You know, did that kind of redirect it? Is that what that whole project was about? Was making sure that this power was directed to the right place.
Yeah, I mean, I would totally go on something like that because it, like the Thelma number round must have, in a way, like directed it slash maybe even amplified it because of
That's
the stuff
possible
that's been
too.
going on there. Because it feels like to me, by having this drill smash into the ley line thing there, it seems like that place where she was drilling must have been where like the major ley lines on the planet were converging into a special uber powerful confluence. So by fracturing it, it must have sent off like a surge
Mm-hmm.
that then I guess was possibly attracted to what's been going on in the Thermonova reactor, and then from there, because they were investigating dragon energies and ley lines, they must have had an idea where possibly the research was heading. Like they they could have.
Mm-hmm.
This is pure speculation, but for instance, the Inquest there could have been, you know, not knowing, of course, that it was Mordramoth, but could possibly, have been following these dragons, ley lines, power connections, and just been getting directed to that area of the jungle, for instance.
Mm-hmm.
And then because of the work they've been doing with this massive surge being blasted out from Lion's Arch because it got hit, then it must have, smacked into what was going on there and then got possibly redirected and was what was needed to awake it. And I still love the idea, and I'm really hoping and praying that um, waking up Mordramoth like this, I'm hoping he's not supposed to be woken up at this time. And I just love that theory of the fellow, I totally forget the name again, Tight something or rather, like first mentioned this on I think it was on our podcast in the comments. He
Mm-hmm.
was mentioning about how it's like the other five dragons are much more destructive in their natures, and this idea that the jungle dragon could be this dragon to kind of come after those five as a kind of way to kind of re-kickstart the planet's life cycle. Um, or he could maybe even be more powerful than the others, and then once those five go through it and then go back or come out and suck up all the stuff, then maybe he comes out to just give a final um, clean of the planet, as it were.
It's a theory.
And I just love the idea that maybe because of what Scarlett's done, maybe she's woken him up too early. But then, of course, if he's been behind her madness, then that means that he's been actively trying to get himself woken up.
Right.
So
Right.
that makes me think that maybe he's trying to, I don't know, like maybe it's not quite that natural. Maybe like the other dragons, for instance, are really against Mordramoth and have been wanting to keep him locked down. And Mordramoth got this idea of how to get himself out, perhaps. Again, I'm totally speculating on everything here, but just like
I. Mm, gosh, there's so many theories floating around there.
there's
I.
just a hell of a lot of potential to do with this. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
like
absolutely.
finding out the truth of Savari. We better get the Tango as a playable race. I hate waiting for this. I want my Tengu.
I
I don't
definitely
care
think
how
that
they.
new areas are going to open up because the entire this has got to be deep into the Maguma jungle, and we can only access like the edge of the Maguma jungle right now. So I think there's a big potential for a lot of that opening up and us to be going in there. I'm really curious still as to the reason we can't go in there in Guild Wars 2 because Guild Wars 1 almost the entire jungle was explorable, whereas in Guild Wars
Oh,
2 it's not. It's blocked off. And I'm wondering why that is. As far as we know, I mean, Morgemoth has not recently awoken like the other dragons. Um, Maybe he's late to the party. And he's saying, "What the heck?
Yeah.
Why have I not awoken yet?" I don't, I
Have
don't,
I not woken up yet? Yeah,
I
I mean,
slept in. I needed a wake up call.
I just love the idea of the dragons having some kind of civil war with each other, and like
I don't
we get
think the
caught in the
dragons
crossfires.
actively, they don't like each other, or they clash. I don't think they even have that much of a intelligence. They're just kind of forces of nature. And I know that they have
Well,
their territories, and they do not want each other to go in each other's territories. But I really don't think they have like a I don't want that one to awaken, or I want to defeat that other dragon. I think they just want it would be kind of like two wild animals who have their territories, and they don't necessarily, you
mm,
know, they just want each other to stay away from their territory.
but then, but then, if they are that simple in their minds, then what about the whole like voices in Scarlet's head? Like
I'm
that
not,
are
you know
obviously
what? That's a
not.
very good point. And I'm not saying that they're simple, maybe more instinctual, but that is a really good point. Is that
There's a lot of
if this
questions.
voice, yeah, that's a really good point. If this voice in her head truly was Mordremoth talking directly to her, that's a lot of speech and intelligence, for a dragon. But unless it was more feelings, not specifically words, Scarlet was turning them into words. But she's saying, "Get out of my head." Maybe it's more just, I don't know. My mind's running away with me.
Yeah,
uh, I am not
I
a
just
lore
find it.
expert, but
Well, I'm like finding it really fascinating to find out what this will be because like with that short story about how she saw like the scarlet vine wrapping around the pale tree, and then she kind of took that as her name. Obviously, there's something with the pale tree, and pale tree
yeah,
also says that if you look beyond this, you're not gonna like what you see. And then like Scarlet saying all these references to Kaith about saying like I know the bad
right.
things you've done, and I was right. You're gonna see that I was right, and so this really
Yeah,
brings up
and
lots of fascinating things about just what the heck is going on, especially with this Mordramoth and what the Solvari are, and what their true origins and all
right.
this.
And in
Interesting.
her death scene, Scarlet says, "You will all soon bow before a new master."
Yeah.
What? Like, so she wants Morgemoth to rule, or is that like, was that kind of coming from the dragon? Was that maybe not Scarlet's words directly, but she gets this feeling like Morgemoth wants to come out and he wants to rule, which gives him a lot of intelligence. Um,
Yeah, as I kind of feel like that by the time that Scarlet is on her death throes, I mean it is Scarlet or Kiara, as it were, but it's very much a kind of shattered aspect of her, and she's just been uh like I think she's totally in the throes and on the side of whatever it is that's been pushing her to do this, and she is kind of losing her mind of definitely, man, and saying like he's coming or it's coming and you're all gonna bow down before it, and I kind of like the idea that because the other five dragons are awake, and it does kind of make sense of them having a more, as you're talking about, kind of force of nature mindset, so to speak, of wanting to just stay in their little territories as destructive elements, whatever have you. It feels like maybe Mordramoth is a different kind of elder dragon, that he has a different power, a different intelligence, a different threat
it's possible.
um, to the others, and that he may be like the kind of king of kings, as it were, of dragon kind, elder dragon kind. So I kind of like that kind of idea that he's some kind of new type of threat, and so that's why he's been working through this. through the Sylvari. It's
Yeah.
just all really fascinating because yeah, I mean like with the whole concept of like the Sylvari being like a fairly young race, we don't really know
Yeah.
exactly where they're like what their true purpose could be. Um, and again, I mean it's really neat because when you consider if the Pale Tree and the Sylvari are connected to Mordramoth, then the Sylvari have always been saying that their purpose has been to fight the Elder Dragons.
Mm-hmm.
And so they get born and are out running around. The Elder Dragons are up running around, except Mordramoth. So that's what kind of starts to make me feel that
Hmm.
Mordramoth has a special
Hmm.
extra tension to the other dragons. Like it kind of feels like the Elder Dragons are on one side and Mordramoth almost is on a side other than them. And that
Yeah.
with the Sylvari, maybe, there's just so much stuff.
I
Arena
know,
Net, you
my
can do
head is
so much
spinning. I
stuff
don't
with
even know
this.
what to think of it all. I don't even know how to comment on that. I mean, there's so many possibilities.
Yeah, I
It's
just
God damn it, Bram.
I know that's stupid Nora. I want Bram to die, quite frankly, or for like Timey to like just like like turn him into Robo Bram and just have him not talk for the most part, and have like a little like cockpit for her on his shoulder, and you can just
Here's a question for you. How do you think the final battle with Scarlet would have been different if Timey was there?
uh cuter. Um,
Because,
yeah,
um, so, this is interesting. I didn't go back myself to talk to her afterwards, and I guess after you defeat Scarlet and get that final,
right.
cutscene, NPCs out in the world have different things to say because
Oh, okay.
they like that's them after you've defeated them. Like you go back and they'll Captain Magnus will congratulate you, and people have different things. I didn't go back there myself, but I heard that Timey, when you talk to her, she asks you about Scarlet again because that's what she's doing in that refugee camp. Is
Right.
going around and asking people, "Have you seen Scarlet? Have you seen Scarlet? Where's
Yep.
Scarlet?"
Yeah.
I guess when you go back there, you tell her that Scarlet's dead,
Oh, okay.
and she's actually
I've
happy. No, she's happy. I don't know this for sure. This is because I didn't go back and check myself. But you can, I guess you can tell her. I don't know if you can tell her that you kill. You can tell her that you killed her as a player, which by the way
right.
was very good because that's. I think people would have been really upset if they themselves didn't finish her.
Yeah, that was like a brilliant move to actually
That
have
was very
us
smart.
just give like the finishing move to her. That
That
was
was
like
really cool.
that's fan service in a fun way. Just finish her off any way you want. It's like, wow, that's
That
you guys
was very
really
well done.
really want us to be able to truly finish her off,
Casimir
like
was a
individually
badass,
too.
man. Casimir ran in there like a badass, taunting her. Kiara, Kiara, Kiara. She's like, that's not my name. What's the matter, Kiara? I was like, holy shit. Marjorie's like going balls to the wall in there, like just confronting Scarlet. And she's saying, you go in and finish her, I'll distract her. I'm like, wow.
It's the
Um,
ultimate cat fight. Kidding.
by the way, Marjorie's hiccups were absolutely adorable. I loved them. Very, I like that they
Yeah,
brought back that character trait.
the hiccups.
Um,
And
so cute.
yeah, sorry. Yeah. Did you want
I
to
was
say more
saying,
about the?
just so cute. No, no, that was it about that. I was gonna bring it back to Timey.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I found it kind of neat how, because Timey in the last patch, she's still asking about Scarlet, but when you talk to her and when she's giving her little speech things, she's not as she explains, she's not quite as into Scarlet as she was. She now just kind of wants to, you know, have her be ended and
I
learn
didn't get
what she
that
can.
impression.
She's not as obsessed. There's like some like speech bubbles, like either like when you talk to her or when she's speaking normally. She does say like she's advanced. She's not quite as into her as she was, or she
Hmm.
says that she's her opinion of her has changed a little bit.
Hmm. Well, I
That
must have
she
missed
doesn't
that.
So
Was that
it's
in this patch, or were you talking about like was that new for this patch?
that was in the Escape from Lion's Arch when she's
Oh,
like wandering around the refugee camp. It's either the stuff that she actually vocally says, or when you
or in the
actually talk to
text?
her, the speech text
Okay.
stuff. But
But yeah, I was
yeah,
extremely surprised to hear that Timey even like asked how she died and was saying good, she's dead. I was like, but she was so obsessed with her and wanted to actually like learn from her and become her apprentice. Why would she be happy that she's dead? I don't know. That confused me.
yeah, because I think like by the time that she's stomping around with Scruffy in the refugee camp, she like explains that she no longer wants to become Scarlet's apprentice, and she
Hmm.
she doesn't want to like work with her so much because she does now know that yeah, this plant girl,
She
you don't want to get
crazy. She
close to
cray
her.
cray. You know what I
She's
think
gonna
I do
kill you.
remember? Now that you say that, I think I do. That does sound familiar. That she
So that
said,
she's
well,
yeah.
maybe I was mistaken about.
One
But
thing I should
yeah.
be like
But
one
if
little thing.
you can go after Scarlet's dead, you can go and look at the panels in the her little control command center there. And I thought it was really cool that they just plain flat out ruled out that she was trying to harvest the energy from the ley line,
Right.
which was one of my big theories.
Okay. Right.
It flat out said, nope, this is purely for piercing into it. It is not for extraction. It is not for harvesting the energy. It is purely just to pierce the ley line. I found it was like, just nope. Please stop talking about this theory because it's completely
Yeah.
wrong. We're saying it here. Um, and one of the other panels said that they were trying to shut down the drill, and only a very high level engineer could shut down the
Right.
drill. They were saying, and I was like, if Timey was there, I wonder if she would have gone over and if she could have figured out how to maybe shut it
Yeah.
down.
Well,
Because Scarlet, I
yeah.
think, put it on like a self-destruct sequence. It seemed.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think that's something that's going to happen in the epilogue. Is that it's going to explode and come crashing down onto the old Lion's Arch. Um, I think that's one of the big things that's going to happen.
Yeah, that'll look really cool if it actually does come crashing down onto Lion's Arch, and it's like obviously that place is not going to be habitable for a
Mm-hmm.
while,
Mm-hmm.
which would be really cool. And then the Tengu can come out and say, "What the heck are you guys doing out here?"
Okay, fanboy, we get it. You like the Tengu.
I want to play as them. Dang it! I said, I don't. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
was
Anyways,
one kind of gripe that I had was that the miasma just kind of disappeared. And
yeah,
I
there was
know
no
they
real
gave the
reason.
excuse that, oh, a strong wind came by and blew it all away.
Really? No, it's just
Really? That's all it took? We just
strong
had to wait
wind.
for a windy day? What? I thought that, I don't know, I thought that was kind of a cop out. Like, couldn't they have just said that, okay, the levels have died down enough that we can stay in there constantly? Like, our efforts in the last patch in destroying those miasma canisters, miasma, I don't know how you say it, but our efforts in the last patch made it so that the levels don't get too critical that we have to get out. It could still be there, but I mean, because we were in there last patch for 40 minutes at a time, and we were just fine. We weren't slowly losing health or anything. It was just at the very end when it got too high, when it like reached a critical mass, that we started losing health and we had to get out. So why not just say that, oh, good job, now we can stay in there because you've destroyed enough miasma canisters. So now we can just stay in there. I don't know why they just said,
Yeah.
oh, it all just blew away. That was kind
I
of
was
weird.
kind of hoping that Lion's Arch could be permanently infected with a miasma.
Hmm.
That it's just at a state that we just can't
We
find a
just
cure
simply
for,
can't
and that
go in there.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that can just make us not be able to go there.
I was
But
kind of hoping for that
unfortunately,
too. Or like I said last time, maybe over a year it clears. It finally
yeah,
absorbs into the
exactly.
atmosphere or something,
Dissipate,
and then we
yeah.
can start rebuilding. But nope, I guess it's gone, and we can
That's
start
strong wind.
rebuilding in 2 weeks. You know? Okay.
Those are the weaknesses that Arena can have at times. But yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and I
yeah,
understand too that they're under time constraints, and not everything can go super perfectly as they want it to go. You know, maybe something didn't work out. You know, maybe they didn't want to do it like that, but they ran out of time. You know, because they are on deadlines now. They can't just say we're going to release it when it's done. You know, they've committed to these every 2 weeks, and that's what they're doing. They're giving us something every 2 weeks, and I think we got these little bit of downfalls, but like you said, you know, little bits at a time is preferable to us than just one big giant thing a year or
yeah,
every 6 months or something.
I was that what you're referring to for anyone still watching or hearing is
Yeah,
that
I'm sorry. This is really
I
long. We're
was
rambling.
no 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 worries. I just was quickly saying because when I talk to people in game a lot of times, a lot of people will say like I don't even pay attention to Living Story. I kind of wonder why are you logging in and playing? I was like I don't care about it. I don't like it. And it's like ugh, because I think it's been fantastic.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody
If you
plays for their own
if you take
reasons.
like if you take the whole thing now, especially like these last really well quality um, patches, and then if you combine it with everything that's gone by, it's been pretty cool and fun. I think, but
Mhm.
also a lot of folks complain that there's not enough stuff in these individual patches. But then what I was talking about with Aurora beforehand was that I kind of like to look at it. It feels almost like how a proper diet, a lot of folks state, and it is true, is this kind of grazing diet, in which case it's not really that good to have a massive single or couple meals per day, but to have spread your eating and drinking whatnot throughout the day so that you don't overload yourself in one meal and you're totally stuffed and you can't move. Um, Even though it's really easy to do, it's and fun, it's not as healthy as just eating like a grazing type diet. And these living patches every couple of weeks feels that way. It's like we're getting little bits of it. Like this patch has been great, but then it's still missing a little bit, but we're getting this epilogue patch in a couple weeks to kind of finish it off. So it's like grazing. You're just steadily consuming content as opposed to one big massive patch. It's
Yeah.
like we're kind of getting doop 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 doop
Yeah.
doop doop
I prefer it that way.
steady. It's kind of relaxing in a way. So. And yeah, just like one like yeah, my final kind of comments on this fantastic cinematics sequence and finale that we got is I love the fact that um just on the gender thing, it's like we have like a main villainess, and then we have mostly heroines fighting each other and communicating. And just like in the very last battle, when we finally pummel Scarlet into the dirt, again, it's like two girls are going at it, and you just don't often see this. And
Hmm.
it's great because you don't often think about it, just because we've come to appreciate them just as individual characters and not just as a bunch of girls, so to speak. Um, which often get stereotyped into a kind of singular role of like the girl in the group.
Right.
Um, and I think it's really cool that Arena has been able to balance this so well in that sense. That Scarlet isn't just like the sexy villainess or something like that. She's the bad dude, and
Right.
our heroes are mostly female. But because we've gotten to know their characters so well, that doesn't become a
Right. That's not what you're
number one issue.
concentrating on.
Yeah, and I wish more movies were like that, for instance, and whatnot. Which we don't even have that in most shows and movies,
Mhm.
for instance. So I mean,
It's
it's pretty impressive.
it is. I applaud them for that. They've done a very good job with this. I am very happy with it. I
But
just
Brom,
damn it, Bram.
gonna finish move Brom.
Jeez. Cut off the villain speech. How you can't cut off the villain speech unless you don't care about the villain speech.
His
We
mother needs to have some words with that young boy.
You know what? I wonder
Your
how
heirs.
quickly we're going to see the result of the characters' actions as far as um, Bram, for example. You know, are we as players solely going to get credit for killing Scarlet because we dealt the finishing blow? Um, or are they going to get credit for being directly involved with defeating Scarlet as well? For example, is Rox going to get into Ritlock's warband, or is he going to say, "No, you didn't defeat the, you didn't, strike the finishing blow, so no, that doesn't count," or something? And is Bram going to be a legend among the Norn because he helped bring down Scarlet? Or I hope so.
I kind of feel like they're gonna do it as kind of like a group effort, so that way that they can do that.
Right,
Like
so everybody kind of gets
Braum can have a
what they've
legend,
been promised, right?
and Rox can go to the Stone Warband. Because like I mean, like otherwise, for Ritlock to be that picky, it's like, dude, really? It's like so like what the heck did your other warband members have to do to join the Stone Warband?
Right.
I mean, like what global catastrophic villain did they take down? Oh,
Right.
let me think. None. Oh, right. Okay. Like, let this kitty in your band already. Like, girl's
Right.
been through enough.
I'm excited to
Um,
see what's gonna come of all that. I hope there's some more interaction between Air and Bram, just because it'll be funny.
I mean,
I think it'll be very entertaining, no matter what happens.
did you notice? Because when you're actually doing the battle and stuff, Rox and Bram actually do have new, um, s- um, uh, conversations with each other. When you're just actually fighting mobs and stuff in Battle
Mm.
for Lion's Arch,
Mm-hmm.
Rox and Bram have an entire new conversation. Did you catch that part?
I might have. I can't remember though. What was it?
Well, it was just basically them talking more about like what their future is going to be, and about how they're coming more to terms with their future. Like,
Hmm.
Rox was explaining more about essentially char culture and what joining a
Hmm.
war band means to her.
Oh,
And
very
Brom
nice.
was going like, "Oh, really?" Because like she was saying like, "Yeah, like when you're a gladium in Char society, I mean, you get spit on and kicked down, and you are seen as being a coward
Mm-hmm.
because you survived." And like Brahm responds, going, "Oh, really? People spat on you?"
Oh wow.
And she's like, "Yeah, and worse." And he's like, "Oh, I'd never let anyone spit on you." And
Aw.
they like have this little really kind of cute conversation where they're still kind of like tense about it, and Brahms being all like, "Oh, I can't believe you're gonna do that," and then like
Yeah.
Roxy says like, "This is a big deal to my people, like
Oh, that's
joining
cool.
them."
I wish
And
there was a map or something there might be of where the NPCs where these conversations take place, like where your character physically has to go
yeah,
to see these conversations, because the NPCs are so spread out now that I mean I'm certain that I didn't hear all the NPC conversations that there were. I
yeah,
On Monday,
totally.
I went and stood next to Marjorie and Casimir during the whole when all the events were going on, and there was a lot of dialogue with them just standing there. I mean, Casimir's asking if she can meet Marjorie's sisters. Marjorie's talking about her mom and her profession,
Oh,
and
yeah,
talking about what her sisters do. And there was all this backstory that you simply had to stand there in one place in order to hear all this. And while that in itself is fine, I didn't even know it existed until the last day of the patch. And I wish that there was some. I knew, and like you said, that conversation between Bram and Rox, I want to go hear that now, but I don't. You would have to tell me where exactly to go and stand, to hear this
yeah,
conversation. So I wish there was some kind of a map or something telling us where there even is conversation, because everyone's so spread out now, it's hard to find them. And if
yeah,
people like us who just eat up all those little lore bits, we want to hear all that stuff. And
yeah,
sometimes we don't even
yeah,
know it exists.
yeah, because like you're just like focused on like fighting and stuff like that. Like I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like the conversation with Rox and Braum is they're still in the main center area. I forget the name of
Grand
it, but
Piazza
it's yeah, basically there.
by the lion
It
statue.
yeah, pretty much yeah, like just a little north of that, I think. And if you just kind of like hang around there with them and like fight the mobs that come and go, they'll eventually probably start speaking that. And
Mm-hmm.
Marjorie and Casimir probably have some new stuff,
Yeah.
which makes it feel. It's one of the things I like about Guild Wars 2 is that these moments it really makes the world feel alive when all of a sudden these characters just have full blown conversations like that with each other,
Yeah.
like voice acted like that. You're like, what? Oh, who? What? And they're actually having a whole conversation. It's like, whoa! It just makes it feel like a living world, like
It
alive that
does.
way. That a lot of games don't often do because they're so text based. So it's really cool for them to do that. But then on the downside, you're saying we don't always know when and where the stuff is going, and Arena isn't very good at telling us that this stuff is in there.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's fine
And
because it's
um,
up to the players to
where,
discover.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I don't think it's ArenaNet's responsibility to tell us where the stuff is. I think as the players find it, I wish that there was a place that it could be shared. You know, if you and though people
yeah,
might have transcribed it on the wiki, that's possible. So if you go to the character page, you know, there's dialogue that they've taken part in. So I'm sure there's that. But I'm exhausted from like all these feels. Oh my
aw,
gosh! Just thinking back, I mean, I was so excited. I mean, I laid down to go to sleep last night, and my mind was still buzzing with everything because I did the final story instance very late at night before I went to bed, and so then my mind was still buzzing with all the possibilities and all the excitement, and I'm still buzzing with excitement, um, and it's all this excitement is exhausting. But
yeah,
I'm so happy. I'm so satisfied that they gave us Scarlet's death. They gave us a dragon. They gave us the opportunity for us ourselves, the player, to deliver the final killing blow to Scarlet, and they gave us all these possibilities, all these new theories to come up with now. And I think the epilogue next week is going to be a really good finish to that, but is also going to open up the next step of the story in
which
season
I
two.
can't wait because I
Mm.
really want season two to get here now.
I
I'm
am
more than happy to move on.
I am
Let's
more excited for
get
it
it
than
going,
ever now.
baby. Yeah,
So excited.
hopefully we won't have to wait too long. I hope.
Yeah, well, we
I
will
haven't
see. We have a
heard
big
exactly
feature
when
patch
it's.
coming next after the epilogue.
Yeah, yeah.
So we have a
Reach.
lot to look forward to. Okay, so I think we need to wrap this up here. um,
Yes, I think so.
I think we've gone through everything. Just a small shout out to Helatron being a Bamf in the hologram battle, going around healing everyone. um,
Yeah, that was really cute and cool.
he re-redeemed himself. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
those are the things that I really love is that like when you're given a little tidbit in one patch and then it comes to fruition in the next one, like doing stuff like
Mhm.
that is
Mhm.
really fun and cool to
That was
progress stuff
cool to
about how
see. Yeah.
that was really cool.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
anything we forgot to mention or questions, viewer questions we forgot to get to, we will get to next time because we'll have just some extra free time to talk next time. Yeah. So leave questions if you want us to answer any questions. And of course, leave your opinions, leave your theories, leave your feedback on what you thought of the patch because we definitely want to know what everybody else thought. And thank you for
yeah, for
watching.
sure.
We really appreciate it. And this is a
And
lot of fun.
leave a comment if you think Aurora's bangs are really cute. So
Do you
I'm
like
a
my
bud.
new haircut? I wasn't lazy and got my haircut finally.
It's the most important news.
No, I
Yeah.
think
Oh yeah.
Scarlet's
There's
death
something
and
else
the
about that.
awakening of a dragon. Yeah. Yeah.
AuroraPeachy's new haircut. Yeah.
All right. Thanks for watching, guys. We really appreciate it, and we will see you next time. Bye bye. Have a
Take
good
care,
one.
guys.